Now let us understand the purchasing power. As I told you, it is an ability of a rupee or a dollar that can command a commodity or service. Okay. In several ways we can understand this. So if you consider the indices for various years 2015, 2016, so on and so forth, and 1 over cost of living index gives these numbers. Okay, and if you have a salary of this much to start with in 2015, and assuming that you get year on year certain increments like this, but still the real salary will be only this much based on the purchasing power, and that is what is calculated and shown. In other words, to command the same goods and services of 2015, you will require 1.78 times 2015 salary in 2019. So far we have learnt about index numbers and how the index numbers are calculated. We need to also examine whether these index numbers stand certain validation. By this I mean that how good these index numbers are and how you assess the strength of these index numbers. These we understand by way of consistency tests. There are 3 consistency tests. One is time reversal test, wherein P01 multiplied by reciprocal of P10 is equal to 1. That means that when you calculate the index number with a base period of 0 and a current period of 1, and when you reverse it with a base period of 1 and current period of 0, the product should be equal to 1. In our example, this works out to be 1.16 or 0.86, and that satisfies. Another test is called factor reversal test. In this, what we do is that we interchange the factors P and Q, and when you calculate this, you should get a consistent value. And when you do this for our example which you have taken, you will find it works out to be 1.2 before and after. The third one is called circular test. In circular test, what we do is that the index numbers with a base period of A and a current period of B multiplied by index number of base period of B and current period of C and multiplied by index number of base period of C and current period of A should be equal to 1. That means that if you construct the index number for 2020 with a base period of 2019 and index number for 2019 with a base period of 2018, then it should be possible to get 2020 straight away from 2018. You do this for the example in our calculations for 2016, 2017 and 2018 on an example. Taking the price of milk, you will find 30 by 28 multiplied by 32 by 30 multiplied by 28 by 32, that is equal to 1. So these are all the 3 consistency tests which one can use it to ensure the index numbers are robust and adequate. There is another important concept in index number is to shift the index base. Now let us see why we need to do this. It becomes cumbersome to have long series of index numbers. Besides, the relevance also wears out when you have it for a very long period. It becomes more of historical. For example, in 1970, the petrol price was 1 rupee 50 paise. In 2020, after 50 years now, it is 85 rupees. That means the petrol price has multifolded 56 times, or it is increased by 56 times. Such kind of information is only historical. Okay, and for future planning they are not very useful. However, if you move if you move the base year periodically, say 5 years or 10 years, normally 10 year, a decade is considered to be a good shifting of index numbers. We can understand better on the behavior of the index numbers and the variable, and perhaps more useful, in planning and budgeting. Let us now look at this example. The same example which I have taken. What I have done is that you can see this is the index number in 2010 as 100, based on which up to 2020 it is worked out. Suppose you shift the index numbers to 100 to 2015, then you will find this is the new set of revised index numbers. Now, in this process, what we understand is that we have shifted this, and also we will be in a position to compare probably year on year how the indices are. Okay, you can see the 2011 can be compared with 2016, and 2012 can be compared with 2017, like that. So when you do that, you are able to understand how the variables behave over a period of time. So ideally, 10-year will be a good base for shifting index, and you start after 10 years as 100 and then move on to next 10 years, and perhaps you can compare what the last 10-year period, how the indices behaved or the variables behaved, and compare this with the current 10 years, how they are moved, and that will give you a lot of information to project for the future. Now let us understand chain index. Normally the index numbers are calculated pegging with the base year to understand the behavior of the variable over several periods, and that's what we have seen all this time. But if one wish to compare year on year how the variables behave, chain index is more useful. As a matter of fact, you use chain index for business variables and economic parameters which are very sensitive. Okay, because based on that, if you need to do certain planning, then you should consider chain index, because year on year the variability is depicted very well. Now this considers the immediate past as the base year, and then it works on, and that is what is done by way of using a link relative. So if you consider what is a link relative, okay, of P01, the price relative of the current period over price relative of the previous period into 100 is considered as a link relative. So similarly, you can do it for next link relative, wherein the base year is 1 and the current year is 2. Suppose, if this is 2020 and this is 2021, this will be 2021 and this will be 2022. Like that you can go on doing it. By multiplying the link relatives, which is called the chaining process, you will be able to relate or interlink the indices which have worked for year on year. Okay, so in our case, the P01 is called the first link and P02 is called the second link, which is multiplication of P01 and P12, like that, so on. So this is how the chaining process has taken place. Now we will take an example and see what exactly it means. So this is a typical example of 4 years where the price of commodity A is taken and the link relatives starting with 1994 as the base as 100. So what you do is that you relate 39 and 37, 43 and 39, 48 and 43, and these are all the link relative. Now this is called the first link relative, this is the second relative, and this is the third link relative. Now use this and calculate the chain index. So with a base period of 1994, using these two you will get this one. Similarly, using this number and this number you will get this, and using this number and this number you will get this. So this is how you get the link relative, and this is how you get the chain relative. We have come to the end of capsule 3. We have learnt weighted average, moving average, time series and index numbers. Now we will move on to capsule 4, correlation and regression.